puts plastic wreath on.
Oh, that's a
Well, what really messed it was the plastic wreath, and then the guy hit it with an ABC extinguisher. Mushroomed in that. That,
So don't hit an ABC, plastic wreath with an ABC extinguisher.
well,
I need to turn this on.
Done.
Is this
in
on?
the grand
Yes.
scheme of things, yeah, that's what you should do, but
Hey, Trent.
that chemical is very caustic to electronics.
Oh. All right. Have you guys worked out what we're gonna do for the first one? That The officership, has it been worked out? Yeah, we got it. All right, well, whatever it is, we'll do it. All right. Okay, I was looking at the clock on the wall. The clock on the wall is a little bit behind the clock that I have. So let's, hold on, let me find my agenda here. Do planning session, planning session. Oh, sorry. All right. Good afternoon. This is the Amherst County Service Authority Board meeting. It's January 2nd, 2024. It's 1:30. I'm calling the meeting to order. Happy New Year, everybody. And I want to thank you guys for participating in the planning session and that we had earlier today. And Mr. Costello, please thank the staff for providing lunch and a good working atmosphere. So thank you for all of that. And I'm sorry I didn't mention that to them at the end of the last session. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. The agenda, of course, is in front of you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Any more discussion on that? All right, that was a motion by Mr. Wade. We're going to give it to him. I heard him first. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is set. All right, item number 3 is Amherst County Service Authority's board organization. At this point, I'm going to, I guess, do we declare you as a temporary chair, Mr. Castillo, to
Thank you.
run
Thank
this?
you for the honor, yes.
All right, Mr. Temporary Chair, the floor is yours, sir.
All righty.
Or the meeting is yours, sir.
We're adjourned. No. No, annually, the board elects its officers per the charter. And at this time, I will accept a nomination for the chairman of the board.
I'll make a motion that Mr. Peros remain chairman for the following year.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye,
Aye.
and this train will roll. Any nays?
No,
Okay. All righty, then I will pass the gavel back to you, Mr. Turner.
all right, thank you, Mr. Castillo, and thank you to the board for allowing me to do this again. We talked privately, individually, privately about this in advance. Typically, I thought the tradition was that we would shift the chairmanship. The argument was made that maybe with the new executive director, some consistency may be beneficial, at least in the initial years, for the executive director. And I just want to thank the board for their support. All right, item 3B. Well, we do need a vice chair, so we're still in A. At this point, I'd like to have nominations, open the floor for nominations for vice chair. I'll nominate Mr. Woods. Are there any more nominations? Declare the nominations to be closed. All those in favor of Mr. Woods for vice chair, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Mr. Chair is hereby named vice chair. Thank you, Wes, for your continued service, sir. Now we will appoint the ACSA treasurer for 2024. That's typically the Amherst County treasurer.
I'd make a motion that we appoint the current the Amherst County treasurer to serve as the ACSA's treasurer.
All right. Any further discussion on that motion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item C, schedule and location of the regular ACSA board meetings in 2024. I believe we've got a schedule in our packet here. I'm going to search for it really quickly. Typically, it's the first Tuesday of the month at 1:30 in this location. Is there any reason to change what's been typically done? I think it's convenient for the Board of Supervisors members. All right, so that would be the same schedule and the same location. Let's see, I'm looking for a motion on
So moved.
this. Okay. Sir, was it?
Page 6 in the
Thank
packet.
you. All right. Mr. Wade has made the motion. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. All right. Item number 3 is Resolution 2024A-001-R. It contains specifically the resolution for the Board Code of Ethics and the resolution for the Board Rules of Procedure.
Motion that the ACSA Board adopt Resolution 2024-A-001-R.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Any proposed amendments to either of the options? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. The rules of procedure and the code of ethics are hereby adopted. I just would encourage everybody to read them again if they hadn't already, just to refamiliarize them. And by the way, I really like that we do a code of ethics as part of this. Mr. Popovich, am I missing anything? You're giving me the look.
No, sir.
All right,
I'm just paying attention.
All right, good. Item number 4, citizen concerns and comments. I do have one gentleman that has signed up, Mr. Marks. Mr. Marks, if you'd like to approach the podium, please, and make sure the mic is towards you. You have about 3 minutes, sir.
Good evening, board members. My name is John A. Marks, Jr., 225 Clark Street, Madison Heights, Virginia, 24572. I have 2 issues that I would like to address. I assumed that I'd have the 3 minutes. However, if I run out of time, I request that presentation of any remaining items be permitted at the close of the meeting when citizen comments are again on the agenda. And I have a copy of my comments for the clerk and would like my comments to become a part of the official meeting minutes. On November the 15th, 2022, the Amherst County Board of Supervisors, based on a recommendation by the Amherst County Service Authority, approved ordinance 2022-12. This ordinance involves the method of assessing water and wastewater availability fees, now referred to as a systems development fee in the ordinance. The previous method was to base fees on the estimated average daily water use planned by the applicant. The change per the ordinance replaces that method by assessing fees utilizing water meter size. Based on comments during the public hearing of the ordinance, the proposed change would result in a reduction of fees to developers from the previous method. A representative of the Economic Development Authority stated, and I quote, "He is very much in favor of this ordinance," end of quote. He also stated that this would be a, quote, "a big win for economic development," end of quote. At the February 8th, 2023 Amherst County Service Authority Board meeting, the former Amherst County Service Authority Executive Director reported to the board that the new way of accessing availability fees by water meter size has resulted in an increase to developers by nearly 300%, that's a quote, and recommended that the code be changed to state that availability fees will be calculated according to flow and meter size and allow the developer to choose which method he wants to use. According to the minutes, there was considerable discussion concerning the matter. The last sentence in the minutes concerning this matter stated, and I quote, It was suggested this item be tracked and presented yearly to the board for review, end of quote. Since the new method per ordinance 2022-12 has been in effect for over a year, I had expected to see such a report in this meeting's data package, but that was not the case. I am very interested in seeing such a report to answer the question, does the new method of calculating fees increase costs, which would be the direct opposite of the intent of ordinance 2022-12? And under the Freedom of Information Act, I am requesting a copy of this report. The second issue I'd like to address.
Sir, we've just hit the 3 minutes. If you
Okay,
want to
I'll-
wrap that, you can certainly come back and,
I'll be right here. Thank you.
sir, yes, sir, thank you. All right, so I heard a clear request, but as part of the Freedom of Information Act, we're not required to generate any reports that have not already been done. But I do remember asking that we see some sort of report to that effect of how costs have changed with this new process, as best as could be compared against the old process. If we could look into creating that report for the board's review, and then, of course, share it with the public, that'd be great.
Of course. I will try to have that for the next meeting.
Thank you. All right, turn this back over. Item number 4, action items. Oh, I noticed in the agenda that we moved the consent agenda towards the rear this time. Is that the intent going forward?
Based on the Gateway Sewer Project, I thought we could,
Okay,
and
great.
inviting Mr. Morcom here. He could
Great.
be early part of the meeting. and
All right, so let's
that's why-
go.
That's why it was rearranged at this time.
Yes, sir. Let's continue. Item A of 5A, Gateway Sewer Project.
Okay. At the previous meeting, we presented to you revised project objectives and a budget for the project. The board directed us to begin preparations for engineering services. However, we were not authorized to proceed with obtaining those services until meeting with the developer to determine his progress and investments made on their part. We did meet with Mr. Morcom, discuss the project along with the county administrator and planning director. I presented the revised scope at that meeting. Mr. Morcom stated they had been in a holding pattern because of the departure of the former executive director. And we were informed that survey work had been done on one portion of it, but not on the entire property. I invited Mr. Morcom to attend this meeting to share with you his plan of action for the development of the property. So with that, I ask Mr. Morcom to come forward.
Mr. Morgan, thanks for being here. We're very interested in this project, and I think it's a potentially great benefit for Amherst County.
Right. I'm Terry Morcom. I live at 136 Shadow Oaks Drive, Amherst, Virginia. As far as the senior living facility that we are trying to get off the ground, we've gone out and seeked traffic study bids. We've also gotten some engineering bids, all of that. However, when I went in and met with Mr. Costello right after he took office, it didn't appear that at that point he was up to speed on that particular project. So he and I have communicated quite a bit. He was aware of it and knew it just wasn't on the front burner at that point. And I think anybody could understand that because he was just coming into the job. So that was in June, if I remember correctly. Didn't you come in right around the 1st of June?
That was my start time, yep.
And I went and met with him shortly after. I think he had been in the job maybe 2-3 weeks at that point. So at that point, we sort of just kind of paused everything. All of our bids were based right around the exact same period. There were in May and June when we got all of these bids. Then my partner, which is Mr. Janney on this project, he said, well, let's see what's going to happen with this sewer and of course, I think it was, what was it, maybe like, I want to say maybe somewhere around the end of August or something, he called me in and wanted to make a proposal of a pump station and was wondering if we were open to a easement for that, which we are, and we agreed to that. And at that point, we've just kind of, I mean, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. We just want to know that everything is moving forward, and it appears that it finally is. It's a proposal that I've been at least made aware of, that pump station is approved with the exception of hiring and starting to spend money. Now, everybody says, well, have you spent any money? Well, we've basically spent, $400,000 so far just on land alone. The traffic studies are around $25,000-$30,000. Once we start pulling into the boundary surveys and all of that, we're looking at between $300,000 and $350,000. So, I mean, you're looking at some big outlays on our part, and, just the fact that we've sort of, because of the departure of Mr. Hopkins, we've sort of been in a stall. And I think that's it in a nutshell. But we are fully committed to this project. We just, need to know how we're proceeding.
All right, thank you, Mr. Morgan. If you could hang out there for just a minute.
Sure.
Any questions from the board or thoughts?
So, Mr. Morgan, do you have any investors on the retirement assisted?
The assisted living, we've had discussions with the assisted living, several different companies. Every one of them is like, we're involved in this, we're involved in that. When are you going to be ready to go? And us having a solid date for that assisted living. Now, I think I've been up front and have said this the whole way, that assisted living process is contingent on us finding a partner. Now, is there a partner out there? Yeah, I feel like it's 99% chance it is, because they've contacted me. I mean, if they weren't contacting me, I would, but I've sat down and had formal discussions with some, my partner and I, and it looks like it's something that's going to certainly go. I mean, to be honest with you, if it were up to me, I'd love for that to be the first thing that we start building. And the main reason for that being the first thing, we think it's the sort of the centerpiece that would attract the commitment of people to doing the apartments and the senior villas. So, but we do have people that have expressed interest in it, and we've had people that have reached out to us. Likewise, I can't walk through the grocery store or Lowe's or anywhere that I don't have somebody asking me, when am I going to start? And we're super excited about this project, and they want to know when we're starting, and I can't answer that. And it's all because I haven't, to be honest, gotten a firm grasp on when the sewer line will be in place that we can start working towards it.
Let's see. Please remind me if this is a county-funded project that we are administering and delivering.
Correct. The county has provided $1 million of CARES money towards the project, and are backing a $2.5 million short-term loan. They're paying that right now. And the county and I are supposed to county minister and I are supposed to get together on a memorandum of understanding for the long-term funding.
So you can see, Mr. Moore, you get this kind of chicken or egg thing.
Oh, I get it. I mean, when we came out of that meeting where it was all approved and then funded, the next meeting, I mean, we were excited. And of course, I think one of those same meetings, Mr. Hopkins then, decides he's gonna retire and all of a sudden, everything just seemed like it was stalled and, where we thought we were headed, and to that, I mean, I think this was all approved in February. So we're almost a year since it got approved, and we're just now coming back and having an understanding of what would work best.
And I think you can appreciate the board's sensitivity because of, let's say, economic uncertainty and rising rates, developers and maybe being less willing to take some risk, and to deliver any project like this is taking a risk, and I respect
Sure,
that very much. What's the timetable for design plus construction, would you say, Mr. Castillo?
Once we have design, I would say probably within 6 months to a year of having all the construction done.
Okay, so, were you getting ready to say something, Ms. Martin?
That's
think-
after we have a design we can put out to bid.
Right.
How long is the design gonna take?
I'm gonna turn around,
6 months.
just a ballpark. 6
to 9 months.
6 to 9 months.
All right, so typically, in my experience, the way these things work is there are memorandums of understanding put in place between the governing agency, which in this instance would be the Service Authority, and Mr. Morcom, saying that, kind of setting a timeline, right? We have gone forward and the county has put forth $1 million in the ARPA funds. We've backed, $2.5 million?
Correct.
In bond financing. Okay, so we've put the funding mechanisms in place. We're getting ready to release the design, okay? We've done all these things. Now I think there needs to be some timelines on Mr. Morcom's part, which might be easements or property for the pump station, so on and so forth. All that put in place. I'm fine with moving forward with the design, right? But I think there needs to be agreements in place that as we move forward and certain things happen, all right? Because where I do not want to be at the end of the day is that we've built $3.5 million of infrastructure and the economy tanks, people pull out whatever, and it's sitting there, and all we've really done is increase the value of your land acquisition, okay? And I hope you can understand that. It has nothing to do with you personally.
Right.
Right? So I think there needs to be an agreement put in place. I'm fine with proceeding with the design, but before we move forward beyond that, we need to have timetables.
That's,
I think that's very reasonable. Any thoughts from?
No, I agree.
So, exactly what I was thinking about, proceeding with the design, but that's a very good suggestion about an MOU and what's required or necessary to proceed towards construction. And, Mr. Castillo, I'd encourage you and Mr. Morcom to work out what what are reasonable expectations
Yes.
for both parties would be. I'm wondering if it's, financing or a commitment from a partner to move forward, like a letter of intent or something like that, but I'll let you all work out the details.
Okay.
Any other comments from the board?
Do we need a motion? to move
Yeah, I
forward?
think we do need a motion to proceed, to authorize the executive director to move forward with the design for the Gateway project.
I'll make a motion that the executive director proceed with obtaining engineering survey and design services per the revised project objectives of the Gateway Sanitary Sewer Project with the caveat of setting up that MOU.
thank you very much.
All right, further discussion on the topic? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I think that's worthwhile. Thank you, Mr. Morcom, for your sharing your concerns. All right, and explaining where you are. All right, next item is item 5B, the LEAP funding. Mr. Castillo.
After arriving here on June 13th, I submitted the VDH LEAP, which is the lead service line inventory project. With the application for that, the authority had missed the May deadline. The application actually had been pretty much filled out by my predecessor, but there was a number of errors that had to be corrected on that. So we submitted it, and we're told by VDH we'd get consideration in their second round of application review. Unfortunately, when that time came around, the person in charge of that program left and began working for DEQ. So the new manager reached out to me and said, we're going through this now. A couple things. One, that one of our original budget items was to purchase a vacuum excavation trailer, because that's one thing we would need anyway. We need to do the work. That purchasing of equipment is not eligible under the EPA funding, but rental of the equipment is. So I revised the budget to show for that, and we ended up with a $142,000 budget. We have received full funding from that.
We have received full funding for that?
Full funding for that. And better yet, it is eligible for 100% principal forgiveness.
Very
They
nice.
no longer have a grant program. They will offer principal forgiveness.
Very similar. It's a
So,
bit of an MOU, and you do what you say you're going to do, and they'll forgive it. That's
so
great.
anyways, as it is officially a loan through the VDH revolved loan program, I do need authorization by the Board of Directors to proceed with this.
Okay.
I'm also, just to keep you informed, I met with the Sweetbriar College, their engineering program, did a lunch and learn about what water and sewer infrastructure was in Amherst County. And from that, I've received 5 resumes of Sweetbriar engineering students who are interested in working on this project as interns.
Excellent. Is there any questions for Mr. Castillo? None? All right, there's a recommended motion on, I can't see what page it is of the
24.
PDF.
23?
Page 23 or 45 of the PDF. Or I can make it since I'm looking at it.
Make a motion that the ACSA Board authorize ACSA's Executive Director to accept the funding proposal offered by the VDH for the lead service line inventory project.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're directed to accept the funding proposal offered by VDH. Thank you, Mr. Castillo, and well done in getting that taken care of. All right, next item is item 5C, the strategic plan.
Yes, and we had our planning session here. I'm sorry, Mr. Wade, we'll bring you up to speed on that. But there was a couple bullets added to the document that have been presented. And with that, those added points in there being one, financial master planning, and the other, help me out here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Castillo. I think that that went well, and I appreciate Virginia World Water Association's involvement in that and to help put together. I think it lays out a nice framework, which acknowledges that this is the path that we've been going down, but we're going to continue to work this, and that framework provides you for some direction in which you're going to proceed. So I think it's absolutely worthwhile. Is there a motion to move this forward? Wade, can I call on you to make a motion to move this forward if you're comfortable?
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
sorry.
I make the motion that the ACSA Board approve the 2024 strategic plan with the board's comments incorporated, and direct the executive director to develop a workable action plan to meet this
Okay,
Thank you.
strategic plan.
so, all right, motion's made by Mr. Woods. Any further discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, and one abstention. Thank you, Mr. Wade. I appreciate that. I guess you had a family matter to attend to, otherwise you would have been here, so thank you for the clarification there. Item number 6 is the informational report from the ASA staff. Mr.
Okay.
Castillo?
Good news is our James River Bank Stabilization Project has been completed. The weather cooperated, the rocks cooperated, everything worked. Better yet, I finally got through the grants.gov windmill, and our application is being reviewed as we speak. A couple questions were submitted to me. I responded to those. Hopefully, we'll know further on that here shortly. So that's a good job done. The Lakeview Sewer Drive extension, it's progressing not as fast as we'd like. The holidays and weather has gotten in our way some. And also, we had some issues. We had met with Mr. Burford, who owns the property adjacent, wanting service. And at one time, he wanted service in one direction for his property, and then he changed his mind. So we're having to rearrange our actual construction schedule to make sure we get him the service that he needs. So all of that's moving along. Moving on to the Graham Creek Reservoir project. Show you a picture where the new entrance gate was being installed. It has been taken down to get powder coating and will be reinstalled as soon as that is accomplished. But that gives you a general idea of what the gate's going to be looking like. We were in the process of trying to close out Burley Construction's E&S permit. DEQ is still not satisfied with the vegetation on the east perimeter channel. That was mostly due to trying to grow grass during the drought. It just didn't happen. I spoke with DEQ, and we can reseed early in the spring, grow the necessary grass when the weather is more favorable, and then they'll close the permit. Because when I received their report, we had until January 5th to have the corrective action done, and I contacted them and said, that's not going to happen. So anyways, that's been dealt with. In August, we submitted to DCR the request for reimbursement. At the end of November, I was told everything's been accepted, and they're waiting for authorization to go to VRA, Virginia Resource Authority, to process payment. And as of this morning, they are in a staffing circle, I guess, trying to figure out who's going to actually authorize it in their department. So I was told they will push it up and see what they get, and if I don't hear anything in a week, I've got names to contact and see about getting that reimbursement. And I was also told we're not the only ones that are having this fun. So that's where that is. Medicine Heights Town Center, we continue to work with the developer on the coordination of the utilities. The developer and their contract been working with VDOT to get their permit for construction of the actual service tap within Business 29, and that has yet to be issued by VDOT as far as I know. But we are doing all that we need to do to be supportive of the project. And we're still waiting the actual developer agreement. The Williams Run Stream Bank Stabilization project back in August, I started that permit application as well. I just received that on December 27th, so we can now legally go into Williams Creek and protect our sewer trunk there whenever weather conditions allow us to do so. The Grace Church project, there actually was a pre-construction meeting held this morning prior to our planning meeting. That is for site work only. They're grading and all of that. They are not prepared to do anything with utilities at this time, so that was where that went. Littleton Tank Maintenance, that project is complete. Everyone has seen, I hope, the logo on the tank, and I have received a number of favorable comments from citizens with that. So that is is done. We continued to get information for the June 30, 23 audit report. I think we got all that taken care of. I'm not being hit from behind, so yes. So that part has been taken care of. Staff and I are working on a plan of action as requested by the board to deal with the calendar year 22 audit deficiencies. Some of them are very simple. We've already had taken care of those, and I'll get that list completed to you, but I didn't have, with the holidays and all, didn't have time to put together a real good formal plan, particularly as there was concerns about costing and all of that for some of the possible solutions. So that's where that is. At the last board meeting, there was concern regarding our program for leak adjustments, particularly with a county facility. Mr. Martin, that the process is within a 3-year period, a customer is eligible for a adjustment where we take the normal usage, subtract the normal usage from the high usage, divide that cost in half, and that's what the new invoice would be. That was done a previous year for another leak down there. But, however, I know in the past there has been adjustments made for leaks for sewer charges where water does not enter the sanitary sewer charge or sewer system. So we will be adjusting that bill for that. And that's all I have on my informational report. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? I think the logo on the tank looks great. It's really nice. All right. Move forward then to item 7, the consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right. Motion by Mr. Wade. Any discussion? None, because it's a consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8 is going back to citizens and concerns and comments. I'd like to invite Mr. Marks to return forward. And Mr. Marks, we have your information from previously, so you can just hit straight into that second item that you had just started discussion last time. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay. The second issue I'd like to address is the James River raw water intake and pumping station. I will not go into all the details about how the project came about, since I'm sure that each of the board members is familiar with the project. During the, during the August 1st, 2023 Amherst County Service Authority Board meeting, Mr. Costello gave a presentation concerning this issue and I quote, recommended not constructing the James River raw water pump station at this time and retaining the funds acquired through interim financing until strategic planning and water and wastewater system master planning can be accomplished, end of quote. At this time, Stacy McBride, Amherst County Assistant County Administrator, recommended paying off the tax-exempt bond/debt for this project. By motion, the project was postponed indefinitely. Since this project has been funded in the pro forma, which is used to set the water and wastewater rates for the Amherst County Service Authority, for a number of years, there should be a considerable amount of money set aside for this project. Under the Freedom of Information Act, I am requesting the following information. How much money has been accumulated for this project? What is the payoff for the tax-exempt bond/debt for this project? How does the removal of this project from the pro forma affect the water/sewer rates? And after all the expenses expended so far for this project have been satisfied, how much is available for other projects? So I would think that all of this information has already been determined and is readily available, since the Amherst County Service Authority is in the process of their strategic planning. So I would thank you for your time, and as I previously stated, I would like for my comments to be included as official parts of the meeting. I will leave a copy to whoever, when I leave. I have also just handwritten in on the copy I'm leaving my email address, and certainly you can communicate with me and send me any reports or data that was requested. You can send it by email if you'd like. Or if you'd like for me to, I can electronically send you these comments that they can just be included in. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Marks. I do have a quick question for you. Would you mind elaborating restating your third question?
I'm sorry?
Restating, you want to know 3 points of information on that second topic.
I believe it was 4.
All right, it was number 3 that I wanted some clarification.
I asked the question, how does the removal of this project from the pro forma affect the water/sewer rates?
Okay, maybe,
It's been included in now for 10 years or so.
maybe it's the fourth one then. What is the fourth?
I'm sorry?
Then maybe it's the fourth question. What was the fourth?
Oh, okay. Well, the fourth,
There's one that I thought that it was
there was a
little
fourth
confusing to me.
question that it was that after all the expenses expended for this project have been satisfied, how much money is available for other projects?
Okay. Expenses from what project? Are you talking about the bond
but
funding or?
Well, I would make the assumption that since the project was included as a part of the pro forma, there has been some money expended as a result of that on the project. Would that be a correct statement?
Oh, yes. It's
Okay.
been engineering. done on the
Okay,
project.
that's
Okay.
good. Okay,
Thank you. That was the clarification I was looking for.
okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing your concerns. All right. Let's see. Item number 9, matters from members of the Service Authority Board. Anything, Mr. Wade? Ms. Martin? Ms. Woods?
Yes, sir.
All right, and I don't have anything either, except just to reiterate my thanks to staff for preparing for the planning session, for providing lunch to us, and also my fellow members of the board for their continued work towards making this authority as innovative, Tim, and as operationally efficient as we can be going forward for this in the future. At this point, we are adjourned. Thank you.